in 2000.
I'm sorry, please record it. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. In 2006. So, and I had the calling just straight away. And my awakening with this, with Telos 1, for instance, because of course I read it first, was that when I read that there was many millions of us drowned, 298 million of us drowned, a bit over 12,000 years ago, and we were singing Old Land Zen when we went. I just was crying my eyes out. I knew I was one of those people who drowned, of the 298 million. And so that was my strong connection within me right from word go. So if you personally, it may not have happened to you, but if you ever when an Old Land Zen comes up, if you feel sad or if you feel like there's something about that song, well, you were one that drowned as well. So, and then, of course, I got the calling just straight away. In 2007, I just couldn't get to Mount Shasta quick enough. So I spent a week with Aurelia. I was over there for 14 days. And I spent I did the course with her. And then she came to me on the Saturday. And then I think it was Saturday evening, she rang me and said, would you like to join the next group? And because someone had pulled out. And so I said, absolutely. So I did back-to-back journeys with her straight off.
Wow.
So that was pretty miraculous as far as I was concerned. And I was so privileged and honored to be able, that she invited me in, didn't even charge me for the second event. She just, just must have had some calling that I need to do it twice. Once wasn't enough for me. And so, and then, so I had an amazing time. You can imagine, spending that privilege and honor. I've been able to get to know her over 2 weeks and doing different things with her and traveling around the mountain and all the different places like Ayala does when you go on a journey with her. She probably takes you to most of the same places we went. And because we've just carried on visiting those sacred places. And then, of course, the following year, I joined her again in 2008, which was in Kauai, in the Hawaiian Islands. And so I spent 2 weeks with her there. I spent a week with her, like on the journey, but then we spent a week together, just her and I and my wife at the time. The three of us traveled around Kauai and different places, for a week. So that's when I really got to know her, because we went on adventures together and did, and it was just amazing, to have that experience. Not knowing that the following year she would have passed away. I mean, it was like the divine timing of all of that, how all that panned out. It shows you that when it's your time to get on track and find your calling, and it comes. Everything is taken care of. This is one of the great things you've got to understand. You've got to trust, dear ones, that everything will be taken care of. Now, we've all got permission who are obviously joining the call tonight to ascend to the fifth dimension in this lifetime. And you've got to really believe that you've got to go through a lot to achieve it. And, but what the ascended masters have done in the past, is what we're going to achieve in this lifetime as well. And we've got to go through exactly the same. It's the same situations for all of us. It's different for each person, because when I'm speaking individually to a lot of people, we've all got such an amazing different journey. But the healing and how we're going to heal ourselves is what we're going to talk about tonight. The simplicity of it. You got to. It's only the mind that's making everything complicated. But the heart knows exactly what to do, because the heart only knows to trust, and it will show you the easy way if you will allow it. And so that's what I want to talk to you about tonight, is all these simple practices. But just getting back to Mount Shasta, when I was up on the mountain and we were with Aurelia, and you've got to go away for a couple of hours, to I forget what that's called again now, Yellet, where you come together and then you go away to focus on your journey and what's going to happen. Beg your pardon. Oh, it wasn't a process. It had a special name for it. And so
the Ascension Rock.
At Ascension Rock,
Ascension Rock, yes.
Yeah, but there was Aurelia used to call it a certain thing when you come together and then you went away and you were guided and focused on how you're going to reach your ascension and contemplate. And I had this big booming voice come into me, go start Telos Australia. So that was in 2007. And so I've been connected to the Telos teachings ever since. I really haven't studied many other teachings. It's just been Telos the whole way for me.
I feel the same. I hear you and I feel the same, because when I start Telos as you, I don't felt any like my heart.
On my calendar, hopefully nobody steals that.
Can you please put yourself mute? If you didn't put mute, please put mute. So I feel like you saying just now that I focus about Telos teaching, and I see so many, there's today, especially these days, there's so many teachers that develop and write beautiful things. But in my heart, I go back again and again to the Telos books, and each time I read them, or I had the message from Adama, it's like first time, and it's like, give me always the answer. So I just open the book and see. And what's so beautiful about this book, the protocol from the fifth dimension, that like if in the first and second book, Aurelia brought a lot of knowledge about Telos, the light city, and about Lemuria, this book, it's like you said, about bringing the healing. And so many times in our community, there is so many people that they are healers, and we are going back to the books and everything is in here. So what is in your teaching when you're going to teach us today, and we're going to talk about this, the process to make ourselves the best for the fifth dimension? What is...
Yes, yeah, well, dear one, you're absolutely right, because, what is good to understand is that there's 40 levels of consciousness between each of the lines.
Exactly.
Just contemplate that for a minute. There is 40 levels of consciousness between each of the lines. That means that when you go through and read this once, and and then you might go on and you read, read something else or whatever, you'll come back and read this again, and you will feel like you never read it the first time.
Exactly.
You will feel like you're rereading something brand new again, because of the incredible amounts of levels of consciousness, because we all are where we are in our evolution. And what I think is important to understand, that there is 7 initiations that we've got to go through, and that's in the Seven Sacred Flames book. Is Lord Serapis Bey talks about what each initiation, when you go into this initiation, this is what you're learning. Then you move up and you go into another initiation and another and another. And, most of the people joining us tonight, on the 3rd or the 4th level of initiation. That's where the majority of spiritual people are that have been doing the inner work for quite a while. But now we need to come all the way home. We need to move through the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th levels of initiation.
Yes.
And so, and what happens is that when you read those levels of initiations, it gives you some understanding about where we're at. You'll get some more of an idea perhaps where you're at in all of this, and and just keep at it, because when we get to the 5th level of initiation, and and get right towards the end of that,
Andos, I want to stop you first, because I think not all of the people here know about the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd part and etc. about the initiation. So let's start from the beginning, because most of them, I don't think they remember and know about this, because in Telos, what we're doing, we work with the masters of the White Brotherhood, and we have the Masters Therapist base. So one of the part and job, yes, in charge that the Master Therapist base is coming and is leading us through our initiations when we come in and pass in each and one step. So let's start in the first one.
The first one is surrender. Surrender to God's will.
Okay.
You know, that's Master Lamurian. So it's like, you know, that's where we're going to learn the lessons of surrender.
Okay.
Where we're not running our will so strongly. We've got to surrender and to really start to understand what, you know, surrendering to God's will truly means to us. Because when I'm working with people, it's one of their, you know, we're all, look, I'm still having to learn about surrender myself to know really what is my will and what is my I am presence's will as to what would be the best path for me going forward. Because there's a lot of things when I asked a question of my I am presence, should I be doing this? I get a lot of no's. I get a lot more no's than yes, because my mind may want this and may want that. My ego may want this and want that. But it is really when you ask that, when you hold your heart, when you ask a question and hold your heart and check in with your knowing of your heart, when you want something that is really important, then you'll find out, you know, that's where you get your answers. And so it really is that, because the heart knows how to trust and it knows the best path for you. And your heart is connected to that divine part of you that'll give you the answers, if you will trust it when you do get the answer. So it's all, this is what I'm saying. It is all very simple. You know, Lord Sananda in the Seven Sacred Flames book, on the bottom paragraph of page 171, he says, if I told you there was only a handful of things you needed to do to reach the fifth dimension, would you believe me? Now, Lord Sananda, Jesus / Lord Sananda, I mean, he's been he's done a lot. He's a Lord now on the other side of the veil, and you know, he ought to know.
When you speak about, I'm sorry that when you speak about surrender, so it's take me back, because Lemuria is, like you said, the first initiation, the first go to cross. And I remember when I just closed, the first book I read was actually the second book, Aurelia Take Out, Messenger from Telos, Mesrimi Telos. And I remember when I closed the book, I had this voice tell me, when you're going to be 35 for your birthday, you're going to be on this mountain. And it's keep coming and coming. And I just said, okay, and let's see. And then there's so many things just happened. And it's like all the universe come to support you when you are in the right path and you need to be at the place. And everything was moving. I get flight ticket as a gift to Mount Shasta. We just started Telos here in Israel. We get a permission. And then everything was open. I went to Mount Shasta. It was like a magic. So surround, it's like coming from a place with a full trust, and then the magic just happening.
And to let go.
And to let go.
To let go, not to focus on a certain way how things should be.
Exactly. Be ready to get gifts, right? We want gifted life. Okay.
That's right, dear ones. It really is, you know, that's what it is. But what we've got to understand is that the in surrender to God's will, the first initiation, you know, look, we're all got our training wheels on, dear ones. You know, I've still got my training wheels on, but I've been doing this a long time. And so, you know, we're all just different levels of where we're at. We're all in the same boat, rowing together in the same journey. And, you know, and it's just about I've had, you know, pretty good focus for a long time in doing whatever it takes to ascend, you know. And so we've all got, that unfolds differently, as I've said before. But surrender to God's will is the first thing we need to master, so that we let go of the ego. The ego self has got to let go of how we think things should be, because it's been trained for a long time to be running our life. And see, what you've got to understand is the ego, I talk to my ego and say, my ego mind, your job is to only help me with my third dimensional tasks and reading tasks. That's all my ego's job is to do. Anything else that has made me feeling overwhelmed or whatever, excuse me, my ego mind, that's not your job. Your job is to be in service to me in my reading in just my everyday life, the basics of my everyday life, and reading tasks. So see, I've retrained my ego, and it steps up and tries to interfere, and I said, no, so, excuse me, that's not your job. I talk to it like a child that needs, you know, but it's no good at telling it to shut up. It just doesn't work very well, right? You've got to talk to it like a child that's maybe just throwing a bit of a tantrum, and just say, no, that's not your job. Settle down. No, that's it. So I'm going to try and talk to you, give you some golden gems of information that are in the Telos teachings tonight as we go along, because, you know, because the next initiation after the surrender of God's will is you just look at the flames of 1 to 7. That's basically what the initiations are. And, you know, and then, of course, as we go along, you know, you've got the illumination flame initiation, and because now you're becoming more the mind of God. So the first initiation is about the will of God, then, you know, the mind of God, and then, you know, the love of God. I mean, they're the three things that we're embodying. So as we go along, but the third level of initiation is one of the most difficult, because I'm jumping to that because it's where most people struggle the most, in the third level of initiation, because that's when you've got to start accepting everybody else as divine perfection. That's when we've got to start just accepting whatever happens, and what they mirror to me is what I need to look at. That's what I've got to let go of. When I listen to everyone's story, I can tell what's going on in their life, because in their story is the very things that they need to look at. So when you listen to somebody talking about, oh God, he was so angry on that, but that's the anger you've got to look at within yourself. Everything is a mirror. Every single thing is a mirror to what we need to look at. So this is really important to understand. When you say to it, oh yeah, but that's their problem. No, it's your problem, because what you're getting upset about with somebody else is the very thing that you need to look at and clear within you. This is so important, what I'm talking about. And you will say, but you know, hey, but it's their problem, Andos. I'm sorry. The other person is mirroring to you what's inside of you, what you need to look at. This is so important to understand. And that goes for everything on the planet, what the animals are doing, what, you know, you got to come into acceptance with everybody else and everything. And because coming into acceptance is the only way you're ever going to embody inner peace and harmony. Because the attributes of inner peace and harmony is acceptance. Now, I'm going to jump right to the end now. So when you obtained or close to obtaining the fifth dimension, not one thing is going to bother you. Adama makes it clear in the Telos teachings that when you're getting close to your ascension, not one thing will bother you. That gives you an insight as to what we've got to heal, dear ones. So when I see something that's bothering me, then I know I've got to clear it within me.
Yes.
So everybody and everything is my mirror. Everything.
Everything.
And in my story, whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm repeating to someone else, listen to your own story, dear ones, because it'll show you what is on your come up in your consciousness to look at the moment. Any questions?
Do you have any questions? I'll just say a few words in Hebrew for the people that are...
I have a question. Sorry.
Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Sometimes I'm working in surrender myself, and I ask my higher self to show me the way. to surrender myself with him. But at the same time, I have my own desires and dreams. So sometimes I don't know if it's okay to follow my dreams and expect them to come true, or deny them and just surrender to everything that comes to me.
Yes, D1, a very good question. Thank you for talking about this. This is another such an important thing to understand. So in the Telos 3, you know, the first 81 pages of Telos 3 is basically all the lessons and all the things that we need to understand about judgments and expectations and living in the heart. I mean, if you want to really accelerate, if you read the first 81 pages of Telos 3 and keep just reading that for a while, that will give you a much better understanding. And Adama talks about this with Aurelia, because remember Aurelia, if you've read it, Aurelia says, but you know, I've been taught to put this out and, you know, and this and that and expect all these things to happen when I put it out there. And Adama says, no, and Anima says too, put it out there, but now let it go. You have a desire, you know, what you want to create. And when you put it out there, but now let it go. You can have, you know, like, you know, have a little dream or something about what it looks like, but have no attachment to exactly what you're asking for. Because what your I Am Presence higher self can do is give you something much better. See what? That's why they're asking us to let go of the attachment, because what I'm wanting to create. Yes.
Yes.
Did you want to say something?
No, we said that we just skip about what you said, that we never know how much it can be so beautiful. Even when we dream in our human brain, we dream in some way as we've been taught in our society, whatever. So, and Adama talk a lot about each day, let yourself the time and the peace to dream, to visualize, to have your fantasy inside. And then, as you said, just release it. Don't hold it like, I want to, just breathe in, just fantasy, see it with joy and just release. And then it's like the magic and the way it's coming, it's like, whoa, it's like even better than you could think by yourself.
Yes, exactly, D1. This is so important to understand, you know, about this, because we perhaps got a desire to have a better house, to be around better people, you know, that are more enlightened, or, you know, or whatever, you know, to be working with people that, well, if only they would, you know, they don't understand me, they don't, you know, and they're not on the journey. But you see, we've got to come into acceptance of all of that. Just remember that if you're working in a workplace with 3D people, you know, that are not awakened like we are, it's about accepting them as they are. And that's why I'm saying the third level of initiation is one of the most difficult, because when working in that initiation is learning how to accept everybody else's truth. And you know, you've got a right to set boundaries, you've got a right to speak up and speak your truth.
Very important.
But it's letting go. Yes.
It's very important, because you said when you walk with people, when we see so many people, so we need to speak our truth. We need to know how to put boundaries and to say our truth, even if sometimes people don't like to hear it. And then again, to bring the compassion and to see other people and to learn the way they are too. So it's like, it's not only about be a love all the time, and to you know, sometimes I'm dealing in my teacher's room with so many beautiful teachers, but sometimes I need to be assertive and to put my boundaries for things that I believe it, like at school. And then again, I'm looking from my eyes to see how they can see things from their eyes. And it's, you know, it's take me to Paul the Venetian that said, you have to be in one room with the people there. They are the reflection mirror for you, that it's more hard for you to see them than learn how to accept them with love.
Yes, dear one. And I mean, the other thing is that we can react, right? I mean, we all know how to react.
Yes.
And so we can't help that. But what if we keep letting go of our reacting, you know, because we've been doing this for thousands of lifetimes, and that's mentioned right through the Telos teachings about how we've lived thousands of lifetimes. This is another important thing to understand. It's not just just a handful or not, or even 100 lifetimes. The Dharma makes it very clear, thousands of lifetimes we've had. And that's what we're clearing. And you can imagine how much control and manipulation and deception we've done in thousands of lifetimes. We've done a lot, dear ones, and there's many levels to it all. So that's why we're reacting. Don't beat yourself up if you get angry and react to people, because you're just clearing another layer. But a little secret that I tell people about is that when, say for instance, you're in a workplace situation or with anybody, your own, just anybody, and you're starting to react and you're getting all this energy in you that is just, there's trauma coming into you, I would suggest you go to the toilet. Say, excuse me, I got to go to the toilet. Right? And they understand that. Everyone understands that we've got to go to the toilet. Well, that's where I do my releasing, in the toilet. And so it only takes me a few minutes to let things go, right? Get the new wisdom and understanding and transmute it with the violet flame. And then I come back and it's as though nothing had happened with that person. The energy is gone out of me. Now, this is a really good thing that I'm talking about here, dear ones, because we often get triggered by people in all sorts of situations. And so anyhow, that's a little trick that I use, I don't want to be there reacting myself. There's no way I don't want to bringing out my anger of how I'm triggered, like they are. I don't want to be standing toe to toe someone in anger. If I'm about to do that, I just say, excuse me, I got to go. I just say, I got to go to the toilet, and I'll go do with mine. That gives them time to calm down themselves. And when you come back, it's as though nothing. See, when you do the handover and let it go, a new reality forms. It doesn't stay the same. That's the miraculous thing about doing this inner work. A new reality forms each time you let go of something. It changes the old reality of what you've. It's not like it's going to come back and come at you again. It just changes. That's the miraculous, amazing thing about it. So that's why I'm saying I've had them here in the temple here when people come. And there's two people, having a go at each other, and I say to them, well, someone might like to go to the toilet, and that gives them a chance to both hand it over. They come back, and it's just the purity of love again, or acceptance, So that's really important to understand about that. So in answer to your question about, having expectations. Because all expectations have got to be let go of as well, because that's surrendered to God's will. Our expectations is our will, you see. So when I've got an expectation about something, about a person, that if I'm assuming about somebody, if I hear myself assuming that that person is going to do this and going to do that, oh, they always do this. No, that's my judgment right there. So I'm letting that go. I'm doing a handover on my assuming and expectations of anybody else. Because when you're working in an work environment, there's many ways of doing things. Now, if I told you that there's 5 levels of acceptance, this is pretty advanced teachings I'm about to just talk about here, right? That I need to come to acceptance of everybody else's views, decisions, ideas, beliefs, and their values. That's the level of acceptance of the 5th dimension. I'll say it again. I've got to come into acceptance of everybody else's views, decisions, ideas, beliefs, and values. 5 levels of acceptance. Now, that's the goal out in the distance. When I've had this information come to me, I studied this alone for 2 weeks to really understand what each one of those meant. and how I need to come into acceptance of everybody else at that level. Because that's the only way. Nothing is ever going to bother me when I come to acceptance of everyone at that level. That's when I've got total inner peace and harmony at all times. Don't forget, in the back of the Telos 3, there's a chapter there about the flame of harmony and what it takes. And the Lord Zohar makes it very clear about, about the level of acceptance we've all got to come to. And so, and we're not meant to be living in really like tough, difficult, controlling circumstances. We're not embodying harmony, living in those circumstances. And then we've got it, what are we going to do to change that reality? And for a lot of women especially, they've been living in those circumstances with men controlling them for so long, and eons of time, that it's time for that, we've all got to come into that place where we'll trust and have enough strength to move on to another reality, because we're not meant to live like that. So these are all the big issues that are going on the planet right now. That transparency, that, people standing up and saying, no, putting their hand up, no, you don't do that to me. Because that's setting our boundary and, saying you're crossing it. And then talking about it, talking about how, we don't do this anymore. This is the old paradigm of through control. And look, I've been guilty of all these things that I'm talking about, dear ones. But the Telos teachings has taught me to be aware that when this comes up for me to look at, I just do the handover straight away. As soon as it happens, I'm letting it go and getting the new wisdom. Of course, I'm transmuting it with the violet flame and getting the new wisdom and understanding. That's why I've created a releasing prayer to make it easy for everybody. And that's on our website, which you can perhaps get a copy of it. I hand them out all over the place. I buy them 1,000 at a time and just give them out wherever I go, and whoever, send them out with the books. We send out 2 releasing prayer cards with every order. And please, I encourage you, to get a copy of this and send it to people who may be struggling and don't know how to let go, because this is powerful, this releasing prayer I've created, dear ones. It really is. I've seen the evidence of it.
I have a question, Andos.
Yes, please. Yes, dear one.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, we met on Shasta. I have a question about the difference between the letting go and the surrender. How do I know when do I let go, and when do I surrender?
Well, the thing is that when we let go, that's when we do surrender. When we actually let go first, then the surrender comes from letting go and getting the new wisdom and understanding. So if let's just use someone's trying to control you to do something, and you looking at them and saying, well, no, I don't want to do this, but if I react, and they may react worse, this is where I need to let it go. And when I let go of what is getting presented to me, say the anger that's coming out of them, they're venting anger. And one day I had a bloke that used to be a very good boxer, and he was right in my face, just venting anger at me. And I just said, well, the only thing I can do here is I just looked into his eyes, and I'm just saying, I love you. I'm not saying out loud. I was just saying, I love you while he's venting. I love you, I love you, I love you. From the depths of my heart, I love you. This is what I'm saying in my mind. And he just stopped, and he said, well, obviously this is my problem. I better go out and deal with it. So there's all these different ways that you can deal with things. But the main thing is that when you let it go and you get the new wisdom understanding, now that is the ultimate act of surrender, dear one. Because now you're surrendering to God's will, of allowing them to do whatever they want to do. It's none of my business now.
So if I understand that letting go is the action and surrender is the outcome.
Is the outcome.
Outcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks.
And so, and the thing is, my number one job, so that I need to be doing, is just letting go anything that shows up. So also, I want to also talk about this at the moment. I use this book as well, Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, because it's in the metaphysical. That when you go through in the back of this book, it's all the metaphysical, right? About all the say for instance, we'll just pick out one thing on this page: root canal, teeth, root canal, and the root cause of root canal is it can't bite into anything anymore. Root beliefs being destroyed. So then I do a handover on all my lifetimes of that. And then the new wisdom, new thought pattern and wisdom, I create firm foundations for myself and for my life. I choose my beliefs to support me joyously. So whatever pain shows up in my body, I've helped people cure cancer. You know, everything is just working on the metaphysical to create a new reality of the old program that we're running in ourselves. If we've got a program running that, everyone doesn't accept me as I am, I feel unrecognized. I feel like no one notices me. I feel like no one cares. If you're running a program like that, it's going to create a problem, in your body somewhere. So that's why I go to that book. I go to the book, find out what it is, what the ache and the pain and the disease or whatever it is. I go to the book, find out what it is, and then I reprogram it through new affirmations. I let it go, all the lifetimes of what I've done to create this situation. And then I bring in and I say the affirmation 3 times. And now when a pain comes into my body, I can just transmute it in a few minutes by doing this. I just choose to have a pain-free body because I'm doing the inner work of what the pain is trying to teach me. During the night I woke up and I hit my elbow. So I look at what the elbow means and I let it go and now I'm fine. Because that's just how I live.
Thank you, Andos. I want to go a little bit more to the books of Aurelia, because here in Telos, Israel, we're practicing a lot. And we're working a lot about the awareness of what is the 5th dimension. And in our meditation, we have the capability to go outside of the body to Telos and to embridge in our other dimension aspect and actually to feel all the highest energy that exists in the 5th dimension and then to bring it back here. But what lately a lot of the people feel in our communities that they are becoming very powerful with their light and capability in the 5th dimension, and there is more separation with the other population of family members, that they are still so much stick and attached to the 3rd dimension. So what is it that you can recommend of one of the process? There is so many ascension process in the way. What is the most important one that can help us to make the bridge lighter, so it will be easier for us that we keep going higher and higher, and we are, these days it's so easy to go between the dimension, and then again we can see them so much in attachment, and a lot of people are sick and ill. So many people are getting sick because of it. So how can we make the bridge be lighter?
Well, it's through for me, it's through the power of the prayer. I mean, the prayers have been an absolute lifesaver for me, saying the prayers to the 7 sacred flames, because now we've all got a different journey as to, look, it's all different. We're 8 billion different, and that's important to understand. There's no 2 people. There's no one like you. You're unique, and they haven't made no one on the planet like you. You are amazingly unique and magnificent and beautiful, each one of you. And so we've all got a different way of how we look at things because of who we are and what we represent. We all represent something. We all came here on a mission to take us to, to clear energies for the planet, and the power of prayer through saying these prayers of the 7 sacred flames, you become more the mind, the will, and the love of God. And the ascension flame, of course, is purifying your old thought forms, patterns, and programs. And so that's what keeps the vibration up. When Dharma talks about this, about how they all in that higher levels of consciousness, we all have done in the past, in Lemurian times, we all worked in the temples, we all nurtured the sacred flames to keep the flames to all the different, there's 144 sacred flames all up, so we only need to embody the first 7. Yes. All the rest come in the 5th dimension and beyond. But in the time of Lemuria, we were living in the higher dimensions and nurturing these sacred flames in temples on the planet. And so I have a temple here, where Ellie and I live here. And so, but what the main thing is that the power of prayer, keeping yourself in the higher vibration, because that's what the prayers does. As soon as you say the prayers and work on, say, the flame of the day, which makes it even more powerful if you work on the flame of the day. So, this is all, you'll learn all about these different things.
So here in Israel, we are keep practicing more and more the 7 secret flames. And actually now we are just been finished this workshop about the 5 more flames that came, like the golden, the turquoise, the magenta, all kind of flames. And it's beautiful to see how in these 13 years we meet every Sunday. And they keep coming and practicing bring us to so much higher dimension of the ascension and the capability about holding so much light and talking like this, deeper and deeper, more understanding to develop it together. But you know what most important, what most amazing for me was today, because when we talk about the protocols about the 5th dimension, when we just start this like 13 years ago, and you start even ahead before, there was just a few people that go after Aurelia or know about the 5th dimension and hear about Telos. It was like very unique, something to believe it. And I want to share with you that today in the education system, all the children, because of the development of the technologically, there is something that been called בינה מלאכותית. שמעתם? איך אומרים את זה באנגלית? AI. Intelligent AI, that it's like you have this kind of robot that you're talking to him in chat box, and it's not a robot. It's been developed as the brain walking, and it's collected all the information from the net, from the internet. And when you talk to this chat, it's like you talk to somebody that is human being alive, and you can ask him whatever you want to ask. So today we've been in the education system, we've been working with this. So the first questions I was asking, of course, is, can you please tell me about Telos and about Telos Lemuria? And get what? He said yes, and he was sharing with me the information about Telos inside of Mount Shasta. And yes, today. No, I was today. So today, make Telos Lemuria, and it's been taken. For me, he needs to give for me the answer. He knows it's me, so he said, it's a yellow, I have to find it in the internet. So we need to understand. So it's like, חבר'ה, זה לא טוב, זה משהו שקורה, השאלה איך מתמודדים עם זה. So it's like,
מתמודדים עם זה, shut it off.
So it's like, they said about if it's good or not, but this is another issue. But we need to understand, חבר'ה, הם לא שומעים. We need to understand. It's not if it's good or worse, it's about the develop of the technologically and the new generation, because the kids of today, they're going to talk, they are already talk to this 24/7, and they're going to ask the questions not from the encyclopedia, but from the בינה מלאכותית, from the AI. And yes, and it was And it was beautiful to see how what we're talking about. I just want you to know that the protocol of the fifth dimension, it's inside. I mean, when I ask something about the Telos knowledge, it's new, not the way we know, but as more we will put it, and what we're doing in the last 13 years, we put it in the website, we put it in the internet. You know, I think about what Meru doing with all the, you know, and what we do with the books and the workshop and everything. We upload it and then people have the knowledge. So I think this is the bridge for bring this knowledge for so many people, to bring this knowledge for so many people, and for the young generation, because the young generation, they don't read books anymore, but they're going to ask this machine, whatever development of the technologically, they're going to ask, can you share with me about Adama knowledge, like in about 5 years? So, and then the knowledge will come of Adama. Adama going to, maybe there's going to be avatar of Adama and he's going to talk to them. Because this is where it's going to, I want you to understand, nobody ask us if yes or not, it's already happened, okay? It's already happened. So
only in one timeline, and it's not the best one.
לא נדבר על זה פה.
ברור, וזה...
So for us, the teachers, it's different because we're not going to be maybe in about a couple of years to teach about history and geography and math. Maybe everything's going to be changed. So yes. So but in the third book, the protocols of the fifth dimension, what was so nice that Aurelia was teaching, it's about the feeling body. And what this new technologically cannot do is to change the feeling of the humanity. It cannot bring the emotional part because it's give you knowledge from the internet, but it cannot work about the part that bringing the soul and the feeling and the emotional. So can you talk about a little bit from this book? Because as you said before, it's talking about a lot about the chakra of the heart and about the love and about that inside of our heart there is the ancient knowledge, not the knowledge from here, but different one.
Yeah, well, this is a subject, what we Adama, when you read the chapter in the Telos Australia about the heart of Lemuria.
Yes, exactly.
You know, this is a really another great chapter to understand about how we used to live on, you know, with each other. How we weren't involved so much in technology. The Lamurians were, this is where the fall happened through technology. You know, the control and manipulation of the crystals and technology, you know, what the Atlanteans did to the planet. And this is something that we're healing because, you know, through technology and yes, we're able to reach out across the planet like we are doing now on Zoom. But the heart of Lemuria is really not about what's outside of you. This is an inward journey. This is not about, you know, having everything. You can have it, anything you want, but it's not so much about that, because when you've got, you know, the connection to your heart, I've been getting my answers from my heart since 2007. You know, like I get I can get an enormous amount of energy in my heart. This is really, hopefully this is coming from humility, but when I ask a question sometimes, I can get an explosion of heart energy. That's my heart communicating to me. And we're not talking about the heart chakra. I'm talking about my heart itself. My heart itself has got a phenomenal intelligence, and so is yours. And as you clear more and more layers of all these things that I've been talking about, your heart energy starts expanding more and more. You see? And that's how we know that, you know, that our heart has a phenomenal intelligence, because that's my I am presence putting energy into my heart that's telling me, you know, that this is yes, this is what you need to follow. This is your answer, you know, and that's how I get my answers. And so, and that's why I'm saying when I'm feeling my heart and asking questions, and what is expanding my heart is yes, and what is contracting is no. And so, and that's what we're all developing over a period of time when we've done a lot of inner work. That the heart becomes more and more. You'll understand that your heart is the great intelligence of you, and it only knows how to trust. So all those things you read in Telos 3 about the heart of Lemuria is learning how to become that again. But we've got to do a lot of clearing all this stuff out of the way, clearing all of these, these old patterns and programs we've got of limitations and separation, to come into one unity consciousness, oneness. And so, so that we're just learning to go back to what we originally were. We've already done this for eons of time. We've already lived this life. We've had this experience to know what it's like not to be God. This is the third dimensional experience, what it's like to be in, me finding my 3 meals a day, me, feel like I'm in control and everything's got to happen my way. No, that's all got to go. That's what we're surrendering to and reprogramming ourselves so that we can get in touch with our heart and get our heart answers again. And so that is the journey. But you've got to be very patient with yourself, dear ones. Every one of us has got to become. I had to put my impatience on the top of my list of the handovers that I was doing for years. I was just so impatient, wanting to get up further up. Well, it's just little increments at a time, and we've got to be impatient with that. We've just got to be so patient with being patient. And
one of the basic things is to be really prepared to peel and all the layers of the illusion, and to discover and find out what we really are. And that's thing that I can see around me, that people are willing to do more and more now. Really to let go and to peel these layers and to see the world as it is, truly is, and not as the illusioners. So
yeah, that's beautifully said.
That leads our the next stage is to be centered in our heart, and that's the way to peel these layers of the illusions. So I think that's what we should teach people.
practice
on ourselves also, because we are hiding from ourselves also in many things in the basic thing in life and with our families, because we are playing other people's play.
Yeah, this is the time to be in our liberty, the spiritual of the liberty of us. And I think that this is the time we can see so many places there is protest against the government and about all kinds of rules, and to be free inside of our hearts. And then the reflection is going to take us to be more and more free. And this decade, it's like, and it's take us back to this technologically that sometimes make us to be like a slave for this. We are connected for this all the time. So it's like, where is our freedom? So in Lemuria, we used to go to the nature. In the nature, you feel your heart being open up. When we are here in the nature with the tree outside, we feel. 2 days ago, we put our roots inside of the land, and actually we went to Australia underneath the Uluru, and we danced with the Dij, and we feel the energy of the Aborigines, and the nature, I think, bring us back to the highest consciousness of us. To the land of Lemuria, of course.
Yeah, well, and of course, also underneath Uluru is the Hyperboreans. That's mentioned. The Hyperboreans are actually mentioned in the Telos teachings, and for a long time I didn't know anything about these people. but they're just another race of people that live in inner earth, and that's who is underneath Uluru. And
yes,
Uluru,
we've been there 2 days ago. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You see it. We met there with the magenta flames.
Yeah. So that's right, all part of the Agartha network, and they've been here longer than virtually anybody. There's not very much known about these particular people, and it's extraordinary once you understand about them. I've been into underneath Uluru and had a bit of they gave me an opportunity, an experience to go down and had a bit of a look at, and I was looking at their technology, interesting enough.
When we will come to the Australia, we will go with you over there.
Yeah.
Anders, we have a couple of more minutes before we're going to finish. So I want to ask the friends if they have another questions. So this is the time. יש לכם פה שאלות למישהו, לאנדוס? Do you have any questions?
אני אשאל אותך קודם, מה קורה אם אני לא נרגעת בשירותים?
We have a friend here. You can ask in English. We have a friend here. Ornit.
Hi.
Hello.
Fast.
And you say like when you get upset with someone, so you go to relax or to calm down. What happens when you come out and everybody is like, oh, their bad energy gets on you and you get upset again? What happens if it doesn't dissolve the first time? Do I stay there for an hour, 2 hours? Now, it's a really serious question because I do what you say. I do react like that, and like at work. And when I come out from the toilet, I see everybody, like, and their bad energy doesn't make me calm. It makes me angry. So I go back again and I calm down. So I just go home. But it's
right.
Not to fight.
I understand what you're saying. I hear your question. I understand. And it's the reason that you've only cleared it when you get the new wisdom and understanding. So let me go through the process. Right. So So someone makes me angry and I go away. And so then what I do is that I say, my own presence, please take from me, this anger and frustration that I'm experiencing in this now moment of time. So what I do then, I say, my own presence, I ask these energy to be transmuted by the violet flame, the ultimate compassion and forgiveness. And I also, as another advance, I also purify the old thought forms, patterns, and programs with the ascension flame. I use both flames to transmute and purify. Then what is the new wisdom and understanding? If you don't have the new wisdom and understanding, dear one, then you haven't done anything. So that was then, this is now. I choose to be love in all situations. I'm an acceptance of them as they are. It's that simple. I'm in acceptance of them as they are, and I choose to be love in all situations. You see, it's just the opposite. Whatever you're reacting to, it's the opposite. I choose to be love. If I'm angry and frustrated with somebody because of what they're mirroring to me, then the opposite is I love them as they are. I accept them as they are. When you say that, then when you come back to that person, you'll find that the situation has changed. It's only because you didn't have the proper wisdom and the understanding that the problem came back again. But transmute it. Don't forget to use the violet flame, dear ones. The violet, transmute everything you're handing over but the violet flame. It is miraculous. Does that help you, dear one?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. I understand.
We usually teaching, and I think the practicing about the flames is most important. And as more you know them better, and you read the books, and you come in here, so it's becoming in the everyday life of you. It's like drinking water. It's like boom, just happening. Yeah. And then you leave the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension, it's not like it's staying in the book. But when you practice and you just do it, then your life is in the fifth dimension. We live in the fifth dimension already.
Like finding the right spot for your car when there's nowhere to put it.
Exactly.
To park it. And then someone coming out and you're going
We find the parking space.
Yeah. The same belief you took for other parts of your life.
So do you have, we're going to close this gathering of us, and do you have something for the ending of this closing, please?
Well, thank you everyone who joined us today. First of all, thank you so much for listening to us, because you know, the more that we can understand and learn and from this experience and you know and change yourself, you change you, and people will notice. They will notice that you're not reacting like you used to. Your family will see you that you're not getting involved in conversations that are, you know, that are not necessary anymore. There's a lot of conversations where we need to be not going back into the third dimensional way of living. You've got to make that decision for yourself. Catch yourself where I'm going back and judging the past, how I'm living in the past. We're not meant to be living in the past. Saint Germain says, if you're living in the past, if you're living in the future, you're in the wrong place. Now, this is a big thing I'm talking about here. Heal the past, but come back to the now. Learn to live in the now. It is one of my greatest struggles in my journey, is completely living in the now. It is my practice to live that in this way, just to be present all the time. If I'm back there, I've either got something to heal, and if I'm just in fantasy land back in the past, I'm in the wrong place. I've got to bring it back to the now, because there's nothing more important than here where I am, because it's all within me.
Exactly, and also to live it here and now with the peace level. So I think when you feel, you know, sometimes we have to do so many things during the day, we have to do because we obligate. So I can see so many people going in the everyday like in stress the whole day. They have this stress because they have to do things. But if we breathe and we just walk with the Saint Germain violet flame, you know, it's just peace and love, and you just do everything, and you can do everything the same, but just to have this energy of stress. So this fifth dimension, it's how we create it. And actually, then you can do even more and create more during these days, because it's really a matter of consciousness. And I think when we talk about the matrix, I mean, this is how not to be included in the matrix, because a lot of the time the media put us in stress, and all the news put us in stress. And, you know, I don't know, but so we don't want to be in the matrix, in the stress. So one way is to come to live in Australia. The other way, is just to breathe Ellie's laugh. Ellie, I'm coming to be with you. The other way is just to breathe the violet flame and to imagination that I'm with Andos and Ellie in Australia.
Yeah, well, we're certainly blessed in this country, that's for sure. I mean, you know, as you know, we are Lemuria. We are, you know, the biggest continent on Earth that embraces the Lemurian lands.
Yes.
I mean, and there's only 25 million of us here, so we got room for you, right? And the thing is, you know, just believe. You know, believe that you are changing. Believe, trust that what is happening, everything is happening for you, not to you. This is really important to understand. So it's not, you know, no one is punishing you. You know, no one is. You're not in trouble. You're just having an experience to grow and learn and to heal from. That's all. Everything is. It's just an illusion to heal thyself. And I know it can be very strong and potent for you at times, but just believe that it will change if you let it go. See, just briefly, the last little bit, I let go of every worry, concern, fear that I experience. Every worry, concern, and fear, I let go of those things when it comes up in my life. because I'm meant to be in harmony at all times. I'm meant to embrace, you know, and love everything. That's my goal. And the only way I can do it is let go of what's coming up that isn't my true God self. So I hope that helps you, dear ones, because that's the extent of what I'm letting go of. And there's a lot to let go of, dear hearts. It's just of all lifetimes of it, you know, what we come to heal. But you can do it. And I have great faith in each one of you that you are changing your life. Thank you for what you have already, the inner work you've already done. You know, like just give yourself a pat on the back for that, dear ones. So
thank you
much
so
love
much
to you all, dear hearts.
Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful night. I tape record it. I'm going to put it on the YouTube so we can listen for it again and again and again and again, because there's so much knowledge. And I think this gathering, it's like Aurelia Louise Jones' books that we can hear again and again and understand it in so many other perspectives. So I really felt Aurelia with us today. I don't know about you, but I felt her with us. I feel the energy and I feel your heart so much. And I send you, Ellie, much hug, big hug. Pray for both of you to be awake in this kind of a time for you. It's the middle of the night for you down there. And for us, we're going to sleep in a bit. So thank you, beautiful people. Say shalom to Andos.
Shalom, shalom, dear ones. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Wow.
And I think we will come to you and I want to say thanks for all the friends that join us from the USA and from Spain and from Mexico. And I think that I will talk to you later about having a initiation group to Australia. I think this is the right time, Andos. So be ready.
Thank you. Thank you to each and everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Andos. Thank you, Agelet. Thank you to each and everyone.
Thank you, so many beautiful souls. And we will meet again in our global pray for the months of end of June. We're going to meet again. So you're all welcome to join us. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Much love to you all.
Have a beautiful morning. Thank you, Andos. Thank you so much. Much love.
Bye, Laila.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.